Hello and welcome back to the Unite Pieces channel. Today we will enthusiastically recap an action, drama, and adventure movie from 2017, titled Baby Driver. The movie tells the story of a teenager named Baby, who is a hired driver, is threatened by a crime boss to get involved in a heist, and threatens to hurt his girlfriend if he refuses. But all hell broke loose when the police intervened to prevent their robbery. So, sit back, prepare some snacks, and enjoy the story. In the initial scene, we are immediately introduced to the main character named Baby. It is known that Baby is a reliable driver, who with his skills he devotes himself to a group of robbers, because of a debt problem with his boss. The action continues with the story of a bank break-in by 3 robbers, where they consist of Griff, Buddy, and a woman named Darling, while Baby is tasked with waiting in the car to take his 3 friends away from there. What they did was classified as a very reckless action. Apart from the fact that it took place during the day, they also did it in the middle of the city crowd, so that the police quickly found out about their actions, which led to teaching action. However, with Baby's expertise in driving a car, they managed to escape the police by blending in with the surrounding cars. After the incident, they celebrated their success, and it was discovered that the brain of the robbery was an old man named Doc, who without hesitation immediately took some of Baby's rations to pay Baby's debt to him. At home, Baby lives with an old man named Joseph, who is paralyzed and mute, but Baby still takes care of him like his own parents. When Joseph finds out that Baby was involved in the robbery, Baby spontaneously replies that he did it just this once, and he promises not to do it again. He would even look for a better job, which Joseph had always wanted. In addition to being good at driving, Baby also has a unique hobby, which is recording sounds which he then arranges into a tune that is pleasing to the ear, and he has created a lot of works, as seen from how many tape cassettes he has collected. Revealed. In Baby's life implied a dark past, precisely after the events of a car accident that made him deaf, and lost both parents. Since then, Baby has often come to the restaurant where his late mother used to work, especially after the presence of a new employee named Debora, who from the first sight Baby was completely mesmerized by her beauty. A short time later, Baby was told to go to his boss, where he was then introduced to 3 new partners, Eddie, JD, and Bats, regarding another robbery mission. When Doc was explaining the plan, Bats was annoyed by Baby's indifferent and dreamy attitude. However, after that he just realized that Baby turned out to be a genius, because he proved to be able to absorb all the material presented, even though he seemed not to pay attention at all. When the time came, the concentration of these 3 people was immediately directed towards the remittance car, and immediately after that they immediately put on their respective masks, before finally their robbery action began. While Baby waited in the car, they quickly carried out the action, and it went off without a hitch, with them returning with bags of money. But with the appearance of an armed man, they quickly moved away and continued the fight on the streets. The chaos caused the city to come to a standstill, hindering their escape. As a result, they had to hijack someone else's car. In short, the robbers managed to escape from the police, and as usual they gathered directly at the headquarters to divide the rations. With the completion of the mission, Baby's debt with the Doc was paid in full, and since then Baby's life burden has been slightly reduced, and his last task was to take the car they had previously used to rob, to the junkyard to be destroyed. He returns to the restaurant to meet Debora, where this time he intends to confess his love to Debora, and after that their relationship seems to be getting closer, because they have actually liked each other since they first met. Another time, Baby checks the money he has set aside during his work as a driver, and during that time Joseph never uses it and keeps reminding Baby to get a job the right way. As promised, Baby follows Joseph's wishes by working the right way, as a very agile pizza courier, and because of his work he often gets extra money, all of which he always gives to make his adoptive father happy. One fine evening, Baby was able to experience the charm of his first date with Debora, even though it was at the restaurant where Debora worked. But to Baby's surprise, it turned out that Doc was already in the same place and suddenly paid for both of their meals. It was revealed that Doc still really needed Baby's role, Even though at the beginning Baby refused his offer, but because there was a threat, Baby was forced to accept the offer for the last time. At the headquarters, Doc had prepared a team with a new formation, which only consisted of Eddie, Bats, and Darling. Shortly after that, Baby and the team headed to another location to pick up weapons, which according to Doc had been prepared by some of his colleagues there. However, as a professional criminal, Bats knows that what is in front of them is not an ordinary group, but a group of police officers who have even dealt with Bats in the past. Because of this, suspicions arise that Doc has betrayed, and they decide to return to headquarters. While on the way, Baby is forced to stop at the restaurant where Debora works, and when Bats is about to cause trouble there, Baby quickly prevents him, and hints to Debora that Baby is not part of them, and says that soon he will take Debora away from there. On the other hand, Doc found out what they had done with the weapons suppliers earlier. Doc explained that the weapons suppliers had brought the police without his knowledge, and even betrayed him too. After resolving the misunderstanding, they finally wanted to continue the mission that had been designed from the beginning. Exactly at 2 a.m., Baby was determined to get out of this circle of criminals and crimes, but suddenly Eddie intercepted him, followed by Bats, who felt uncomfortable with Baby's suspicious movements, especially with the tapes containing recordings, making Bats even more suspicious if Baby was planning something out of the scenario, until suddenly. After waking up, he saw that all his tapes had been checked, even though all the contents of the tapes were just the music he had told before, and not anything suspicious. While the operation was in progress, Baby warned a postal employee not to enter because it was dangerous, but she actually returned while carrying a security officer, so suddenly. The action that goes not according to plan makes Baby feel fed up with them. They quarrel and make their car crash, leaving Bats dead on the spot. They finally split up and choose to save themselves. Meanwhile, the police are still aggressively pursuing, until Baby has to trick them by changing clothes, even though it's all useless at all. He can only escape after desperately stealing a car and driving away, but suddenly, Baby crashed into Eddie and Darling, where after the car was hit they had to deal with the police, until they were both shot and lying there. In contrast to Baby, who still had a chance to escape in another car, and he immediately returned to his house safely. Without looking anywhere, Baby immediately took the money he had saved, and this time he intended to leave Joseph at the nursing home with some money set aside for him, while some of it he prepared for his escape. However, what was Baby's surprise after seeing Eddie still alive while pointing a gun at him, coupled with the appearance of a policeman. Baby was sure that the police would arrest him, so in an opportunity Baby immediately shot Eddie, and immediately took Debora away. But unfortunately, it turned out that the shot was not enough to paralyze Eddie, who got up and fought back, until the commotion between the two people ensued. Not wanting to waste time, Baby then went to see Doc to exchange the securities he had seized, with all the cassette tapes that Doc had confiscated earlier. After the exchange, Baby and Debora immediately left the place, followed by Doc. But suddenly they were reunited with the previous weapons supplier, but Doc managed to paralyze them. Just paralyzed the three people, Doc had to be faced with the brutal actions of Eddie, who came by crashing his car. Now, Eddie targeted Baby and Debora, but with Baby's skills, he managed to push Eddie's car down, and caught fire. They quickly escape thinking Eddie is dead, but it looks like Eddie is immortal. Before Eddie can kill Baby, Debora comes and helps him, allowing Baby to grab the gun and shoot Eddie for the umpteenth time, making him fall from the spot and die instantly. After a long journey, the two lovebirds finally get out of the pressure and continue with their plan, although at the end, the police team intercepts their journey, and their Baby decides to surrender, because he knows that he can't escape anymore, and the last movie hangs. What do you think of this movie? Please write your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, and support our channel by subscribing, so that we stay motivated to create more interesting content for you to enjoy. And until next time.